Hey everyone, welcome back to Short Takes. We're produced by the Alabama Take, and we are the Alabama Takes Talk Show. I'm your host and editor-in-chief of the website. My name's Blaine Duncan. I'm more than thrilled to have as a guest today one of the terrific songwriters, one of the more terrific touring artists in our time. Mr. James McMurtry is with me today. James, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Blaine. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I want to thank you for joining me today. Now that pandemic maybe kind of sort of over, what's your schedule like these days? Is it about to get chaotic?
Well, we're going to start doing the Continental Club residency in Austin again, first week of August, and then I got some solo touring in September that was actually on the books a year and a half ago, but kept getting bumped back for pandemic. So yeah, it's going to get busy.
Good. And I'm a huge fan of your music. And
thank you.
One thing I don't think you get quite enough credit for is your guitar playing. I think you're a fabulous guitar player, and that might get overshadowed because your songs are so beautiful and in-depth.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Did you have a guitar player that you aspired to when you first picked up the instrument?
Yeah, Carlos Montoya. I didn't get anywhere near that. But,
wow.
Yeah, when I first heard flamenco, I kind of wanted to do that, but I quickly figured out I wasn't going to get there.
Who turned you on to Carlos Montoya?
My mother had an LP of his.
Oh, that's great. I'm very excited to let everyone know that your first album in 6 years, I think, is coming out on August 20th. It's available to pre-order from New West or from James McMurtry's site directly. And I think people can even get a signed copy if they pre-order, if they get on that fast enough.
Yeah, I did sign a bunch.
That's what I went ahead and ordered because as soon as I heard about it, I knew to get on it. It's called The Horses and the Hounds. There's a taste of it online from a single that you've released called Canola Fields. And if the album is anything like that song, it's going to be fantastic and spellbinding.
That's a good record. Yeah, Ross Hogarth produced that, and he's meticulous.
Oh, yeah? You worked with him early in your career, is that right?
Well, he was John Mellencamp's engineer 30 years ago, and Mellencamp produced my first record and was exec on the second one. And Ross did the recording and the mixing. So yeah, I knew him then. Then I hired him to mix the first record that I ever produced, which was called St. Mary of the Woods on Sugar Hill Records. And so this time I thought I'd just hire him as a producer because he's done a good bit of that since then.
Yeah, the first single is great. Do you enjoy the mixing, the post production process?
No, I don't go near a mixing session ever.
I've made a couple albums a long time ago, and gosh, that was so tedious. I never could stand it either.
No, I don't like to hear my voice played back over and over again, same word over and over for a while. No.
Right, yeah.
But, yeah.
Before we get into our 4 questions for our show, I'll ask you something. I saw in an interview that you gave once around the time of the release of the 2015 album Complicated Game, where you said that often songs will come to you as a couplet or a couple of lines, and then you kind of determine who would say those few lines.
Yeah, that's how I get the characters. I think who said that, and then from the characters I might get the story. And if I can, squeeze it into a verse chorus structure, then I can get a song out of it.
That's beautiful, and I was amazed by that. And when I would tinker with songs, I kind of sort of did a very similar thing. That's really cool to hear. My question to you is, when you start narrowing down, when you say, I've got a good couple of lines, and who could possibly have said this, is there ever a moment where you think, well, this is a whole lot like me, I would have said this?
I've written very little autobiographical work.
I don't blame you. Why would you? What you got going is fantastic.
Oh, thanks. No, I don't know. I don't. My own life is interesting enough to me, but I don't expect it to be that interesting to anybody else. So,
yeah,
I prefer to write fiction.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised. I bet some people would want to hear more about you. Let's dive into our 4 questions. What do you think? Our first question is, what makes you feel the most empowered, and what makes you feel stripped of power?
What's always made me feel most empowered is the automobile and the interstate highway system. There's a piece of pavement that connects every part of this continent, and I can get there on it if I can get the gas money. I just always like the, the sensation of going down the road. I don't like it as much as I used to because now all my joints and my bones hurt. But when I was a kid, that was the thing. Power was at least the illusion of freedom that the automobile gave us.
Yeah, it really does. Are you sort of a car guy? Are you into cars?
I'm not a motorhead of any sort. I don't fix them. I just break them. I drive them.
Yes, sir. I do know that. Our second question is: what's something in life that you find disturbing and wish you could fix? Even
the capacity for the human being to immediately default to hatred and fear. Mm-hmm. It seems to be universal and easily exploited.
A lot of evidence for that, too.
Yeah.
You took a pretty strong stance against former President Trump in writing, which I read. And I feel like he was responsible.
He exploits that hatred and fear.
Yes.
I mean, if he hadn't come along, somebody would. I don't give him that much credit, but and we should have seen it coming when Tim McVeigh blew up that building in Oklahoma City. Somebody should have really started paying attention to the level of anger out here. I think it's false. I don't understand why we're so angry because we got it pretty good, But I continue to see that. I drive around out in the country, and in Texas there'll be these real nice ranches with high fences and exotic antelope and big ornate ironwork on their gate, and it always says the word ranch on it. And if they got cattle, they're real pretty cattle. They look like 4-H calves, like somebody's been out there brushing them down. Mm-hmm. And then they'll have a big house and a big old ski boat and a bass boat parked under the "Don't Tread on Me" flag. And I just can't imagine who they think is treading on them.
Yeah.
It seems like the richest are the angriest.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
I don't get it. I mean, some of the poor are angry too. I guess everybody wants somebody to blame, and that's what bothers me. Why do we have to blame somebody? Why can't we just work together and try to fix it?
Yeah, and it's I don't know. From my limited time here, it's getting worse.
Yeah.
So our third question might be kind of bleed into that a little. Who's the scariest person that you've met?
There were 2 now deceased club owners in Austin that scared me pretty bad just to be around them. They'd both been to prison. I know one of them had killed people. They scared me.
Was this back in the day when you were just getting started in booking shows?
No, this is not that long ago at all.
Oh, really?
Well, 10, 15 years.
Gotcha, yeah.
Back in there, yeah.
Our final question is a little shift from the negativity. Maybe we ask our guests what's done up real good for them, and we ask, it's basically a way of saying, what are you digging lately?
Well, it comes back to the automobile. I stumbled onto a good car. My father passed away in March, and he left a 2012 Hyundai Sonata.
Okay.
Best car I ever drove. I mean, he went through a phase of Cadillacs back in the 90s where, the last year of the really big ones, I think, was 93 something. He had 2 or 3 of those, and they were terrible cars. They fell apart on their own gravity, And then he switched to the Hyundai, and I'd never driven it much until he passed. And unfortunately, I loaned it to my ex-wife and my son as they were going to go to California, and they are in California, and neither of them had a car big enough that they wouldn't kill each other if they went out there. Mm-hmm. So I loaned them the Hyundai just so they'd be okay, and I really miss it. It's a great driving car. It's got this weird little motor. It's like a 2.0 4-cylinder, and the turbocharged unit is nearly as big as the motor itself. But you don't know that if you don't look under the hood. You think it's a V8. It gets up and goes.
Wow, that is not the kind of car. When you said it's car related, I did not picture you going in that direction. How interesting.
No, it gives me that feeling back, that power back, like, okay, I'm going to make it to where I'm going this time.
Yeah, that's good. For our viewers, definitely check out James McMurtry, his website, and New West, either one of those, and you'll be able to find how to pre-order his new album. It's out August 20th. It sounds as though you'll be hitting the road. with
I
this
will.
album?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I'll be
fantastic.
out.
Even check out his website to figure out some tour dates where you can see him live. I had a friend of mine. He is Matt Patton. He plays bass for the Drive By Truckers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He once saw you. I think he was on his way to South by Southwest and happened to catch one of your shows. And he said it was just fantastic. One of the best live shows he's seen.
Well, caught me on a good day, I guess.
No, man, you're one of the best, and it's an honor to get to talk to you, and I appreciate you taking your time with me.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. James, have a good tour, and I hope that I'll be able to get to see you soon.
Hope so.
Okay.
Travel safe.
Yeah, you too. To our viewers, we'll see you all next week. Thanks, everyone. Will went walking and was blown away. Found his finger by my mama's grave.